Okay, my friends, fzeroman here. I'm going to show you the steps in doing a custom reflection skybox. I hope it works out well this time. It's not 100% effective. First, I'm just going to put some simple details around a Cubemap. So just get a plane. Put the cursor to the selected group, add a plane. Basically what you're doing is reflecting the Cubemap to the Skybox. I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm just going to put some like decorations around it. Not really going for, a lot of detail. I'm just trying to show it off. And around the Cubemap, all objects are smaller than they normally are in the level. You scale them down a lot more than you normally do. You can do any kind of scenery you want. You can do like smiley faces if you know how to mess with particles or symbols, slapping stuff together. I'm just putting basic stuff around it for now. Put some buildings around. Now the Cubemap just reflected everything that's around it. So you see the buildings in the Cubemap. You see the frustrum symbols in the Cubemap. It refreshes every time you enter the level. So I can take this and stretch it out, test the level, and now it's changed in the Cubemap. So that's a good rule of thumb to remember when you're making a Cubemap skybox reflection. See, now it's there. Alright, so we got our Cubemap. The next step is to have your level, wherever your splines are set. So, in fact, here, let me do this. Basically, you want it as far away from the Cubemap as possible. Because you don't want anything in the main level to be reflected. I'm just gonna slap some roads in here. Have a little fun with it. Okay, next part is to get a giant reflective surface. The best way to do this is of a tube, a simple tube. And enlarge it as much as you can. Okay, if you see it doing that, that means the skybox has to be further put away. But you can pretty much just keep the reflection around the track without having to stretch it so far. Now what you have to keep in mind is the bending of the reflection. You want it far away from the track so you don't see the bend when you're driving around. See? Now you won't see the bend that much. Now what you want to do is take the bump away completely. Take any colors away completely unless you want them in there. Basic color you can leave blank, you know, just default white, but you can also change it if you want. You see what I mean? Spec color you don't need at all. It just doesn't look right. Now the only thing you have left is the standard bump. See? So you just disable bump. It shouldn't still be showing up. That could be a glitch with the editor, as the bump shouldn't show up at all. Maybe if I refresh it. Nope. I don't know. Oh, wait. Test your scale. Take that out completely. I have bump disabled, but it still shows. Alright, what you might have to do is extend the skybox far. Just a little bit more and eliminate any fade distance. You can have shadows on, it shouldn't affect that. I don't know why the fade is there. Wait a minute. You just gotta find the best reflective surface. See, that fade shouldn't be there. There we go. You just, number 15 over the image is perfect. See, it doesn't show any detail or fade. I mean, I have bump off, so that shouldn't show any bump. Obviously, I don't have the sky far enough. As you see, it's not showing up on the reflection. It's showing up on the road, as that's already set to reflect. But you also have to disable fog, as fog will obscure the tube reflection. And you want to put sky far as far as you can. I just go to mats. If you're thinking you want fog later, you can always add that. I'm just showing you, how to get the background reflection. And there you go. Again, you have to find the perfect image. See how there's a fade. There's still a fade there. So you want to find the perfect reflective surface without as much, with little fade as possible, but you can always adjust that. Like, you can adjust the skybox exposure. And what this would do is expose it even more. See it? And actually, you want to go back here so you can see it in real time. As a Cubemap doesn't update in real time. It updates per the test of the level or the load of the level. So in the editor, you won't always see the real time, you know, reflection. You always have to refresh it. And that's how you get a Skybox reflection, a custom Skybox reflection. And the only problem you do have here is our other tricks to this. Yeah, you want to watch the exposure when you're going that far. But see, it's not so bad where you're actually in level. Here's another trick to this, and see, you can see the sky down there and up there. Now you can add a complete reflection above and below, but remember it's also going to reflect what you have around the Cubemap. So let's go back to the Cubemap, raise it up, and now the hole at the bottom is still there, but it's more sealed in. So you want to raise it more. Actually, you want to raise it less. I'm doing that wrong. I was doing that backwards. You want to... Okay. That doesn't work as well as I'd hoped. Go back to the main level. And from here... Oh. Now you go back to the Cubemap. Basically, you want whatever detail you have here under the Cubemap in the main level. Yeah. So you go back here and just put it below. Of course, it's smaller, so you're going to need to re-stretch it. Again, it won't be exact to the Cubemap, but it's better than having a hole at the bottom, you know. You can do the same thing for the top, but normally what I do is I'll increase the sun shaft, as that's normally where the sun is. It's tough to tell on this, but if you go to the ambient, you can adjust where the sun is and put it right in the center. You don't have to raise it that high for the light. It'll already be overexposed. You want it maybe halfway. You want it bigger but less exposed. Now put it back on planet. You love the stars. Oh. I still have to adjust it. I put too much directional light in. But now it doesn't look so bad up there. Again, you can toy with it however you desire. I'm just showing you kind of my tricks to the trade. In fact, I can say, okay, I don't like that. So I'm going to take it back. No, I don't want to save it yet. I just put the latitude of the sun back. What I'm doing here is I'm going to take what I have here for the plane and put it at the top. Basically what you're doing here is going to have a moon. Or a sun, depending on how you want to do it. You can do either. And you can, mess all around with it if you want. it's a little too bright. Now you have a sun or moon up there. Again, you don't need that bright, but... And you can kind of eliminate the regular one. You don't need two unless you're doing a moon, then you can just leave it like that. Here, I'll take it back to a moon. So you have like a sun and moon in the sky. Again, it's not perfect, but it lets you have your own kind of background reflection, your own custom background. And now that you have it, there are some things that obscure the backgrounds, and these are unfortunate. One is the start and end zones. Let me add those. And the reason they mess up the reflections is because they themselves have a reflective surface at the start and end. So that's gonna mess up with the reflection. There's more like teleporters and all you add also mess with the reflection of the Cubemap. It's something you can't get around. I mean, there are ways to get around it. It's just a little bit wonky. But right there, it worked. And it worked like a charm. So the basic rule of thumb is do your level, do the Cubemap, do the reflection, and then add the start and end zones. If you have the start and end zones at the start, it's gonna break your reflection. If you have any teleporters and all at the start, it's also gonna mess with the reflection of the Cubemap. So just keep that in mind. In fact, any reflective surface you add will always mess with it. There's a trick around the teleporter issue. So I'm going to leave a teleporter there and go to the Cubemap. I'm going to copy the tube that's been reflected and put it around the Cubemap. You can make it smaller. And that fits the reflection partially. You can see it's a little darker now. Where you can adjust the darkness by adjusting the reflection. Like I said, see right there, it's not perfect. It just broke the reflection again. This is where it becomes a problem, as you have to add another reflective surface to bring it back. Just keep that in mind. And now it's darker because the Skybox is obscured. That's where you up the ante on the Skybox exposure. Again, you have to find a good balance with it. The less teleporters you have in the level, the better. As in, you can... Here, let me go back to it. Oh, I gotta delete the other teleporter. You're saying, well, the roads are reflected. Yeah, but it's not. It's tough to explain. It's not an actual reflective property. It is it does show a reflection, but it's not from an object. I don't know how to put this. I don't know how to explain this. That the roads that are reflected, adhere to the reflection you put on everything else. Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. So it's pretty much like the Cubemap. Here, up the ante on this reflection. See, that's basically showing the Cubemap in reverse. And you can adjust it. But it won't mess with your Cubemap background. That's what I was trying to say. Other stuff you add, like cube maps and teleporters in end zone and start zones will. But spine tapes with reflections will not affect your Cubemap custom Skybox. And now we have the Skybox back to where we had it. Kind of. Yeah, it's better. And there is your custom Skybox. I hope you enjoy, and I hope I've given enough insight to how to create your own reflective custom Skybox. Again, it's not a perfect, it's not 100%, and there's a lot of know-how to adjust and fix. I mean, just have fun. Have fun with your Skybox backgrounds now. I want to see some really interesting things.